Hello, this is Group 23, presenting how information technology positively affects the way we think. My name is Thomas Burkett, and I'll be talking about how information technology positively affects relationships. Information technology has forever changed the way romantic partners will meet. Traditionally, people met through mutual friends or communities. However, the large number of online dating users has led people to be more selective and to search for higher compatibility. Online dating services set up private messages between matches. This assumed mutual attraction, combined with a large user pool, reduced the early stress seen by providing this pre-selection. Dating apps have also had a large effect on the LGBT community, with 70% of the same-sex couples meeting online in 2010. Information technology reduces the overall fear of rejection for everyone. Social media is also shaping the way we both form and view friendships. Recent studies show half of surveyed teens rely on social media to strengthen friendships. They communicate daily to help process their thoughts and feelings and form valuable childhood bonds. Traditional friendships that we put on pause during distance are seamlessly resumed over Facebook. People are also free to share hobby interests and find common clubs. Social media is often said to increase the quantity but reduce the quality of friendships. This challenges the Dunbar theory, which observed people to commonly have 5 intimate friends, 50 friends, and 150 casual friends. This effect was further reinforced in a recent Facebook user study where an average user was found to have 4 intimate friends, 43 regular friends, and 155 casual friends on average. I would now like to introduce Tristan to talk about politics and climate.
The advances in technology have allowed for individuals to create spaces where individuals can share and debate political ideologies with other individuals. Social media and the internet has allowed for individuals to share, organize, and create groups that seek to be politically active and to encourage others to be active. The advances in technology have allowed individuals to create meaningful movements that originate online and have translated to real-world change and action. For instance, the 2020 U.S. election was a very close race, and the decisive victory was claimed for Joe Biden in the state of Georgia. Part of this victory was contributed to by Stacey Abrams and her online enablement of registering and empowering minority voters in Georgia. As reported by the New York Times, Abrams is credited with helping to engage 800,000 new voters in the state of Georgia alone. Abrams was able to use the network she created in her governor race in 2018 to reach out to voters in a highly impactful way. Her use of Twitter and other social media has created a new and impactful way to reach voters. This key use of technology helped provide the Democratic Party with the votes needed to turn Georgia blue for the first time since 1992. In addition to engaging new voters, technology has also allowed for an increase in awareness and action on climate change. A company founded in 2017 called 4Ocean aims at enabling ocean cleanup through the sale of several different products, all made out of recycled waste. This company uses a conventional business model, but enables climate action through use of social media to advertise its products, its mission, and its progress. In a similar way to Stacey Abrams, 4Ocean uses social media to spread its advertising to individuals who would also be interested in supporting their cause through purchase of its products. Additionally, 4Ocean uses advances in technology to increase the amount of waste they can collect. These include skimming ships and manned boats and boom systems developed for waste collection. The long-term technological goal of the company is to retrofit a boat with new technology that will enable them to increase the collection radius and the amount that they can service at a time. Through the mentioned examples, you can see that as technology evolves, individuals are able to creatively adapt it to meet the needs of society in both societal issues and environmental issues. Technology has allowed us to creatively attack issues that are presented to us in ways that are both impactful and meaningful.
Charlie will now take you through how memory and creativity are impacted by information technology.
Information technology has allowed us to change the way our memory functions and affects what and how we remember in positive ways. Advancements have allowed for us to direct more mental capacity towards creative thinking, problem solving, and other mental loads other than rote memorization due to technologies such as Google and other search engines, as well as collective databases of knowledge, including Wikipedia and Project Gutenberg. For example, we no longer need to memorize things like the periodic table, historical events and dates, or stories which historically changed little by little as they were passed down through generations by word of mouth. Thousands of years ago, orators would spend years, if not their entire lives, memorizing literary epics like the Odyssey. Now, the digitization and preservation of history, cultural works, literature, and knowledge using information technology allows us to broaden our perspectives in a way hitherto unheard of. One study suggests that the simple act of searching online may represent a form of mental exercise that can strengthen neural circuits, supported by MRI analysis. Another study, focusing on forgetting information and its roles in memory, states that the brain actually has functions to promote forgetting, and that, in order to learn how to make generalizations based on large amounts of data, there must be some forgetting of details in the data involved, in order to prioritize the core information that's necessary for decisions. This is exactly the type of process that information technology has developed to support. One might argue that the instant access to knowledge and the decreasing need to memorize many things is reducing our capacity to remember in general, but I would argue that it's simply changing the way in which we remember things, and the way we form mental connections. We no longer need to know a specific fact. We simply need to remember where to find it. Dr. Daniel Wegner, a professor of psychology at Harvard, likens dependence on computers to dependence on a mechanical hand or other prosthetic device, or to the use of calculators in the classroom. He points out that initially, math students were banned from using the latter, but, quote, now it's gotten to the point where most of the time we are being tested with our calculators to see where we can get with that wonderful tool in our hands.
Riedel will now take us through how blockchain technology influences the way we think.
Hello, my name is Mridul and I'm going to be talking about blockchain technology. So the first question we can ask is, what is blockchain? So blockchain is a digital record of transactions which could involve movement of money or data. Now this blockchain is designed to store information in a way that makes it virtually impossible to add or change data without being detected by other users, which makes it very secure. Now, the next thing we can ask is why blockchain is the technology of the future, or the next technology we can look up to. The first reason is already discussed, which is security, that it makes it virtually impossible to add or change data without the other users detecting it. And the second one we have is decentralization of trust. Now, today in all areas of our lives, we have delegated over trust to a third party that seems sufficiently worthy of our trust. Now, for example, bank entities where we deposit our money, we are trusting that it will be there when it is required. Now, blockchain applications could replace these centralized systems with decentralized ones where verification comes from the consensus of multiple users. Then we can go and talk about decentralized storage. Now, with the arrival of the internet, the information has become so accessible that from almost anywhere we can access the web and get information. But we still depend on a third party to store it and make it available through the channels, which they consider appropriate. With blockchain, this figure of the guardian of information disappears, since it is very distributed and the network itself guarantees its availability. Next, we can talk about immutability and transparency. And this sort of aligns with the security aspect as well, which exists because of the design of the blockchain network. Now, we can talk about the impact of blockchain and how it is impacting or will impact the thinking of users in a positive way. Blockchain itself is a change of paradigm. It's a way of understanding social relations in a more globalized and totally connected world. We can't imagine as of now a transport system without a central entity, or a platform where buying or selling of apartments or flats where supply or demand connects directly. That is what is really going to change the world in the future. Here, we are talking about revolutionizing the societies, markets, everything, and it would be much more easier to create this model, as it would allow users to govern their information in a more secure way, thereby affecting their thinking as well and giving them a lot of autonomy. Without doubt, in the future years to see, we will be surprised that we ever doubted that this paradigm had a future.
And finally, I would like to introduce Jason to talk about big data and cloud computing.
Cloud computing is an emerging technological paradigm where IT resources are delivered on demand via the internet. Cloud computing provides centralized data storages, databases, and computing technologies. Enough of all these buzzwords. What are some examples? Well, in fact, we are surrounded by cloud computing on a daily basis. Do these icons ring a bell? Well, these are actually all services that operate on cloud computing. Especially amidst the ongoing pandemic, these software services become crucial components in our daily lives that allow us to move forward as a society despite the lack of physical interactions. Cloud computing is allowing us to think in positive ways in 3 different approaches: enhanced mobility, improved communication, and lastly, analytical insights. Enhanced mobility. Cloud computing enables users to have access to the services they need anytime and anywhere from a device with internet connection. With the cloud, working remotely becomes possible which in fact is now an essential factor in the post-pandemic workforce model. Twitter, for example, announced in Q2 of 2020 that they will be 100% remote for its 5,000 employees. Even with the new shift in workforce, their yearly revenue was up by 28% in Q4 2020 versus Q4 2019. Improved communication. According to the Ericsson Mobility Report published in Q4 2020, the total number of mobile subscriptions was 8 billion globally. Anyone can have access to cloud computing technologies on their mobile devices to start communicating with each other via instant messaging and web-based conferencing options. We now have access to services that allow us to communicate efficiently and effectively. Analytical insights. Amidst terabytes of aggregated data around users and business processes are invaluable and actionable information that can be observed and studied. With analytical insights, organizations are able to better forecast their future performances on a spiral basis.